Hey everyone, how are we doing? It is, wow, what day is it? I've lost all track of time. Oh my god, it's Tuesday already. Wow. I hope everyone's doing well. Today, we're going to do something fun. We're going to look at making a cutscene scripting system from scratch. So, I hope this is going to be fairly straightforward and interesting. So let's have a quick recap of where we're at. So what I'll do is I'll just give us a quick play, see where we're at. So at the moment we've disabled dialogue, so we've not got any of the speech. I'll have a quick play. Screen this. Go to the lift. On the lift. Just turn down the music a bit. There we go. We've got floors. We've got the R&D department. Back down to the living quarters. Back into the living area. Could turn on this TV.
Hello, America. I'm Mark Levin. This is Life, Liberty, and Levin.
Could turn off the TV.
Welcome.
We can turn it back on again when it doesn't want to. Nah, there's nothing good on. Look at the family photo. It's a picture of my mum. We could talk to. We've got the dialogue system working. Like a baby, terrible. Obviously going to refine that a bit. So saving that for a UI design session. So Steph yesterday gave us a bit more of a spec on what we needed to do. Her vision of the storytelling in the game. And part of that was having cutscenes. We'd start the game with a cutscene, play a little bit, do another cutscene, play a little bit, cutscenes between each chapter, cutscenes at the beginning of the tutorial, and so on. So, how do we create a cutscene in Godot? So, let's start on a new page. Godot cutscene design. All right. I have no idea, by the way. I haven't done any sort of pre-planning. I've just been reading up a little bit. Found a few things on how to pause the game and stuff like that because, well, pausing is the main thing, right? Let's just think about how a cutscene might work. We're going to pause the game. We're going to limit inputs, except for the ability to skip. Right? Don't know how that'll work yet. We want to show a new screen for the cutscene. We want to, when I say pause the game, what I mean is physics, not that we've got any physics in this, processes, and sound, right? We've got to do all that because our cutscene is probably going to have its own physics, process, and sound. So let's say we fade out audio, fade in cutscene audio. Right? Show a new screen for the cutscene. Then we've got to script it, right? So ability to show images, ability to show text and audio, ability to play sound effects, and the ability to play background atmospherics, and the ability to play music. Right, we're probably going to need all this. I'll just say add the. I don't know why I did that. There we go. So, unless I'm missing something, I think that's what we want for our cutscenes. Our cutscenes are not interactive cutscenes. They are, I think, they're that special bit. You know when you got to that point. So, for example, right, Monkey Island. This is quite, actually, I really like the way they did it at Monkey Island. I remember being quite impressed with it. So, if you search for a cutscene, let's see if this is a cutscene. It is. You know how you know it's a cutscene? Because you've not got the UI, and you usually got bars top and bottom. Let's see if the bars come back. No, but it does fade out. Oh, this doesn't have. Doesn't look like this one even has a verb system. Anyway, I digress. Oh, there we go. Old school. Wow. Very old school. Okay, not a great example. So anyway, I imagine perhaps that we do have some kind of rectangle top and bottom. I did that actually in I created kind of a cutscene system in what was it called? The 8-bit agency game. So let's have a look at that real quick. Let's just see how we did it in here. Obviously, we're not going to do something like this. This has got physics processes, hasn't really got much audio going on, apart from the dialogue text. So I press a button.
Oh, yo, nearly.
Right.
What the hell's going on?
So you see, I've got a global variable here called cutscene.
I don't fucking know. Oh my god, what's happened to your head?
Shush. So cutscene's set to true here.
What the hell's happening?
When it finishes, should go to false.
Wait, what is that she's growling at? It looks like an arcade machine. What the hell? We're inside the Jellycade, Neil. Oh my god.
A lot of clicking, isn't it?
Right, Neil, come on, let's go investigate.
Right, cutscene false, and the bar's removed, which is great if you're, making a game where you run around. I can't even jump in this. So let's have a look at quickly. How did we do that? Did we do it? Let's have a look. Scene controller. Yes. So we created sequences. I think we looked at this before. We actually created something here. So we created a function called start cutscene. So let's go look at that. So that was in the GUI canvas layer. So GUI canvas layer. Here we go. So GUI canvas layer has a function called start cutscene. Sets global.cutscene to true. And it has an animation player called start cutscene. It has another animation called end cutscene. Now, no doubt, start cutscene and end cutscene move a bar up and down. So we'll just verify if that's true or not. So what we've got a bar here. Yep, got a bar. So you can see top cutscene, top rec, bottom rec. Hit play, and they come away. That's the end. And the start cutscene. Hit play, and they come in. Very slick. I'm surprised I managed to do all that. So how's our cutscene going to work? Well, I don't know if we need to do that. I kind of like that. We could do something like that. It gives it quite a cinematic feel, doesn't it? Especially if we put the text on the black underneath. You know what I'd really like, actually, just in terms of just thinking about font today. And da font. I don't know if there's any with stroke. Just wanted to see if there's any sort of stroke font. By stroke, I mean this. It's got another layer around it to help it highlight. Potentially, we don't get any sort of black and white stroke font. Anyway, again, better leave all that to the UI experts. So, okay, we're going to have a go at making something a bit more artistic here. What other features will we have? Fade out, fade in, cutscene audio, ability to add show images, fade to black, fade to white, fade in image from current color. Okay, so if we're going to do something like that, then that would dictate that we've got some sort of background rectangle, right? And then we will also have background texture rec, right? Texture rectangle. So we've got two things here. We've got a background rectangle in the center that dictates we're going to show stuff in. So we might just have text appearing there. And then we're going to have a texture rec that can fade in and show an image over that rectangle. Then we're going to have rectangles top and bottom, black cinematic bars. I don't know what you call them. And then we need some sort of system for pausing everything, so that we can't hear like any of the old audio, because we probably do want to set a completely new scene, or maybe we need the option to fade stuff out. I don't know. And maybe the cutscene happens in the location that you're actually at. You know what I mean? So maybe the cutscene's triggered in that location. So you don't want to suddenly change what's happening there, right? So hold on 2 seconds. There we go. So where do we start? What's a good place to start? I think this first thing, we need to understand where's the cutscene going to appear. There is an ability to pause in Godot. Pause in games. Most games, it's desirable at some point to interrupt the game to do something else, such as taking a break or changing options. So to pause, to set pause mode, pause state must be set. So you just do get tree, pause equals true. Pauses a lot. So that stops 2D and 3D processes, process, physics, blah, 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 blah. Before enabling pause, make sure that nodes must keep working during pause are whitelisted. This is done by editing the pause node's property in a node. Well, look at this pause mode. Let's have a look at that first of all, because I think we probably will use the pause. So what sort of objects would we want to pause? And do we have to, I suppose we need to do it on the scene, right? So do locations get paused? I don't know. I mean, I can't see the point in having a location. It seems like the pause only affects processes and inputs. So essentially, to hell with it all. It's not going to stop sound by the looks of things. I can verify that because this guy is saying add a pause and resume a sound. Pause doesn't work. So we're going to create a new node, I think. So we'll create a new node that will be this new screen for the cutscene, and we'll create a new script, and I think we'll have to sort of activate it, which will set the pause and so on, and we'll pass it some information to say, is it a new scene or is it in the current scene, and so on and so forth. So let's have a go. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to create a brand new scene here. Just close location down. I'm getting a bit of glare here. Oh, well, there we go. So let's switch to our scene tree. Okay, so you can see our scene tree up here. I'm going to just reduce that a little bit for you, if I can. Not sure how I can do this from here. so. No. Like so. Yeah, there we go. I'm going to give you the full visibility because I'm still at 150%. So I want you to be able to see my full scene tree, as well as not having to squint. A bit more. All right, there we go. So object floor 2 is the last one. Yeah, cool. Okay, so, oh, where am I? Have I disappeared? Looks like I have. There I am. My goodness, zoomed right in. Maybe this is exactly what it should be with the scene tree. I should be looking at the scene tree just over here. Unfortunately, the scene tree's over here. So, wow, that's weird. What I need to do is editing on the fly here. I'm going to flip myself, transform, flip horizontally. Ooh, that didn't work. Transform, flip horizontally. I must be flipping something else. There we go. Right. Move myself back over here. Oops. Okay. Now I'm looking at it. Okay. So something we talked about before is potentially loading up an entire new tree. So this is essentially chapter 1 we've created here. We'd need to create chapter 2 and the tutorial and load these as entirely new games and new levels. So if you've used Godot before, you're familiar with loading levels. Loading levels. So yeah, so you basically change the scene, right? So at the moment, we've got a scene called game. So if we go down to scenes, we can see game is loaded at the moment. So we'd rename that to something like tutorial. And that would be our first level. All right. And then we could duplicate that and have scene 2. Excuse me, my phone is going. What's going on? Oh, okay, exciting stuff. So it makes sense again that we'd have a new type of scene, which is empty at the moment, and it will be a cutscene. Have I got the other one open still? No, I'm just going to open the other one up and just look, because I wonder what we put over the top to make sure that it overlaid everything. So GUI canvas layer. So I think it's a canvas layer. Yeah, so we had a canvas layer, a control. I have no idea what that is. Center container with a label. Box down there. A fade color, whatever that is. And a cutscene top and right. Maybe we could just use this. An animation player, a tween, and a fader. Ooh, fader. Okay. So, what is a fader? Animation player, right? Okay. I'm just going to start from scratch because I have no idea. That was so long ago I did that. So here we go. So we're going to add a canvas layer as our root node. Okay. So we'll call this cutscene. All right. All cutscenes will be cutscenes. So there's our cutscene. One thing that I'm a little bit concerned about at the moment is that my resolution's all over the shop. I'm going to make a major change here, and it's probably going to trash the game. But let's just see what happens. So settings, display, actually we want display, and we're going to change the resolution to something a little bit more realistic, a little bit more usable. Oh, will I? I kind of like this sort of low res, but I just do want a better aspect ratio. What's the most common aspect ratio? Most common PC game aspect ratio. 16:9. Okay. Retro 16:9 resolutions. Let's have a look. See what we've got. Yeah, so it's since 2009 that 16:9 came about. There you go. These are our 16:9 resolutions. What's a nice retro resolution that we can use? Do you think we should go retro? I don't see why not. There's something crisp about it. I think my main concern is the artwork, whether we should be utilizing artwork that's like super high definition stuff. Look at that, 16K UHD. I'm tempted to go for like 640 by 360, but maybe we can go for like 1080p. Let's go for 1080p for now, and we'll see if that messes anything up. Okay, where is it? Display window. Okay. Resizable. Yes, I think. Borderless. Sure. No. Always on top. Yes. Test width. Don't know what that is. Does it tell me? If greater than 0 overrides the window width when running the game. Useful for testing stretch modes. Okay. Stretch mode. Aspect ratio keep. Yes. Mode 2D. Shrink. I don't know enough about resolutions and setting it up for the best, but let's just see what that looks like. Whoa, okay. All right, well, seems to be working. All right, okay, good. Still
Hello, America. I'm Mark Levin. This is Life, Liberty.
Okay. Okay, so it's seems to be working. It seems to like want to downscale it. It'd be great if it just snapped to full screen as soon as we clicked it. You know what? I wonder if it's because I'm running in like 200% mode. Let's go for full screen mode. And just see what happens. Play. Yeah. Okay. Obviously, this isn't very good for debugging. Ooh. Weird. Is that my top option? I think it is. Now we can't see the top bit here. Okay. Yeah, missing locations. Interesting. It does look like it's everything's sits within it. It doesn't quite, does it? I like the way it's scaled out though, which is nice. Just our fonts are tiny and okay, well, you know what? For now, let's leave it like that. We're going to come back to the UI, but we're not going to run it at 1080p. Display. Gone past it, haven't I? Nope. I'm in editor settings. Project settings window. Okay, what other resolutions did we have? That's way too small. Let's go for 720p. So 1280, 720. Close. Oh, we don't want full screen. Resizable. Yeah, okay. Right. Alright. That'll do this for now. Bit more resolution. Bit more space. A few more pixels. So. Oh wow, look at that. Yeah. What you have to do is lock. You need to lock the lock this from being pressed again. It does some crazy stuff if you just call it over and over again. Okay, so cutscene. So now we've got our box at 720p. I've got a canvas layer. Now we had something called a control. That's what I'd used as the last one. All user interface nodes inherit from control. Controls anchors and margin adapt to its position and size relevant with parent. I wonder what that means and how you're supposed to use it. I don't think we used it in the last one, but okay, I'll set a control. We'll set that as full screen. Okay, super. Have I got the other project up? I have. Let's have a little look. So the control was full screen, and then we added our rectangles as what are these? Color rects. Makes sense. So let's add our color rects. Now I wonder if these color rects are going to be resolution dependent. Let's see. Color rect, grow direction, horizontal, both, end, begin, whatever. A minimum size, scale, pivot, clip. Size flags. Here we go. So we want to, on the horizontal, we want to expand. Okay. What about on here? Layout, top wide. See, that's setting it to the size. It's just setting the size. Maybe it'll work. If I go like that, and then I change my project settings to 1920, and then back to 1280. Okay, cool. Nice. Scales it for us. That's beautiful. All right. Not really fussed at how big these need to be. They do need to be blick. There we go. And then we're going to copy that. We're going to duplicate it here. Control D. And we're going to call this top cinema rectangle. And this one will be bottom cinema rectangle. And I believe we've been using capital letters in our other scene, right? So yeah, pretty consistent. So now we're just going to move that down the way. Okay. In fact, actually, no, you know what? We can just do this. Go bottom wide. Whoa. Okay. All right. So whatever this is set to 83. So rect size 83. Now you see it pushes it to the bottom there. So can we do it again? No. So you see it adjust the position and the size. So I think we should probably go for something a little bit more like 100. So just move that up a bit. Super. So that's our top and bottom cinema rectangle. We're going to create an animation player to move those up and down. So we'll do that in a sec. There's something else we need. So we wanted another color rectangle, didn't we? So let's have a look at our spec real quick. Oh, I just realized the scene I'm in is not great. So we wanted a background rectangle across the whole screen, and we want a background texture rectangle as well. So let's do those. So color rectangle of the full rectangle. I'm going to put that behind our cinema blocks, and we're going to call this background rect. And then we're going to create a texture rect. Texture rect. We'll put that in front of our background rect, and we'll call it image rect. And we'll just stick a texture in there real quick. Let's stick in any old picture from our assets. Backgrounds. Let's put in our R&D department. Oh wait, we've not used our development department. Let's use that. Development. Okay, well that's not working. Why is that? Hide that. Oh, 1, it's tiny. 2, the order was wrong. Okay, so the lower it is, the low is in front, the high is at the back. So super. See that image doesn't stretch, so we want to we really want that image to stretch out. So image rectangle, expand, scale and expand. Yeah, that's good to me. I mean, obviously we wouldn't have a picture like that in there, but so the main thing about the image rectangle is it's going to be transparent, and we fade it in, right? So we set the image we want, and then we fade the image in. So we'll have to write some functions for doing that stuff. So that's the image faded out. Now we're going to create some animations for our bars, and we've got to position our text as well. So where will we put the text? Seem to have run out of cheap music. There we go. Okay, where should we put them? What do you think, guys? Where should text go? Should it be here? Should it be here? I think here. Let's put it here. So we'll make a new horizontal box container. Is it horizontal box container we want, or a vertical box container? Essentially, we're just positioning stuff on the screen. I think we want a vertical box container. I'll tell you why. Because box container. So we're going to slice our screen into slices. Slice, 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 slice. Right. So full vect. And so inside our VBox container, so we're going to call this screen areas VBox. And then we're going to create our slices inside this. So I'm just going to double check how I did it here again. I mean, to be honest, when I did this, I didn't know what I was doing. I think I know a little bit more now, maybe. So I think we create another vertical box inside that, right? And we set a height for it. So, nope, maybe not. So we create a horizontal box container. Oh man, I'm so rubbish at this. I really don't know what I'm doing with UI yet. I need to do a load of like advanced UI design tutorials. We did a load in here. Let's have a look how we did it. User interface. Okay, so we had a horizontal. We had a horizontal box container was for the full screen, and then inside our horizontal box container we had two. So that's a we had two vertical box containers, block and block. We don't want to do that. We want to create multiple. We want these, which are VBox containers inside a VBox container, right? Yeah. Okay, so we want. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's right. So we want a VBox container here. VBox container. So this is the thing that always gets me, is getting these containers of a scale out. Size flags, expand, fill. There we go. So it's filling the whole thing. So now if I duplicate that, now we've got 2. And again, now we've got 3. And again, and again. So I want 5. So I've got 1 here, 2. So that's going to be my text container position, 3, 4, 5. So I can position text on the screen or elements on the screen. So I might want UI elements in box 5, text in box 4. God knows what I might want in the others, but it's very useful to just be able to link to them like that. I'm just going to rename this one to 1. Okay, so screen areas VBox. We'll call this the text. Oops. Actually, you know what? We're not. We're going to add a label in there, right? We'll have our text in. We'll call that narration. I think so. And that will be auto wrapped, and it will fill up, expand the whole block. Go, and then we want our text to be sort of centered inside. Not sure how we do that. Let's put some text in. She said, "Stop right now, sir." Okay, where would that go? So center, V-align, center. There we go. Super. Really good to get some good fonts in there. But okay, so that's where our main text will print up. So you know what? I'll just put narration box text. Okay. And then we'll probably want some sort of skip cutscene option down here. I think the common way of doing that is to hold your mouse button down, right? So it spins. It says skip cutscene. You know what? That's a lot of effort for very little value right now. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to put a little. I'll put a little bit of text down in this label here. So copy the narration one, move it in here. In this case, we're going to right align it. We'll add a bit of margin on the right. So bring it in a bit and bring it up a bit. There. And then we'll align the text down. So v-align bottom, and then we'll just write left click to skip, right? So all our cutscenes should be skippable using the left mouse. Okay, so now we're gonna have to animate our cutscene in and out. So we'll fade this text in, fade this in, we'll move the bars in, and so on. And we'll have some sort of consistent way of creating a cutscene, or at least a system to allow us to script our cutscenes however we want them. Oh, right. Okay, so let's animate our up and down bars. So we're going to have to create a new animation. No, it's a tweet. It's a tween, right? Okay. And an animation player. So why do you need a tween and an animation player? The tween allows you to actually, I don't even know if you need the tween. The tween node isn't necessarily required at this point. I'm not sure why I've got the tween. The tween lets you, I think with code, you hook to the tween, and then you can say, you can basically manipulate the values. So you can say move from here to here, or change the color from this to this. But then so does the animation player. The animation player lets us automate it down here. Whereas I think this is like an object for code. I'm not sure how to use the tween very well yet, but all right, we definitely need the animation player. Let's have a quick peek what I used the tween for in here. So we had a tween here. Doesn't really have any settings. Our script must use it though. Nope. Looks like I had absolutely no use for it. Oh, there you go. Good to know. So, let's delete that. So let's create a new animation. Been a while since I've done this because I don't really do 2D stuff that often. New animation. We're going to call this cutscene start. And we want to add tracks for these guys. So add a property track for top cinema rect. And it's going to be position, right? So let's have a look here. Rect position. It'd be nice if you could just pick it from here, wouldn't it? I think that's the one it's going to be, but must be. Let's try that. Rect position. And we are going to move that. So we're going to set a keyframe here. So we're restoring the current position of the rectangle. And we do that by hitting the key over here. So we want to store position here. Create new track for rect position, insert key. Okay. Oops. So I've got the wrong, I selected the wrong thing there. So we want to select top cinema rect. Right. Store our position. And so that's going to last 1 second. 2. I don't know if that's too much, but we'll try it. So our end point, we now move this up. So we can just use the arrow keys here. Oh, no, we can't. Sure we could. We have to click here first. There we go. Yeah. So moving it up. Move it. It's just off screen. And you can see what our value is. So minus 100 would be off screen. I'll do minus 101 just to be sure. Save the position. Right. So if I play that back, rewind, and play. Lovely. Now what we want to do is smooth that out. So again, it's been ages since I've done this. I can't remember quite how we do it. Oh, if only someone could remind me right now. Where is it? Have a look at the other one. See what I did. Animation. Part of the animation player, is it? No. Okay, let me Google it. Let me Google that. So we want to animation, Godot animation smooth, ease in. Right, ease in and ease out. Okay, easing options. Transition. Where is that? Inspector. So it's in the inspector. Right click, yo, and access the curve shapes. Easing. Animation player. Animation itself. Edit. No. Right click. Yeah. Somewhat obvious. Okay. But everyone's screaming at me now. This is how it's done. But we'll just have to go to inspector node. Animation track key edit. So we are looking at the inspector here. With the inspector saying it's something to do with this. What optimized us. Wow, that's cool. Current animation, cutscene start. Playback options. Oh. Okay, let's watch a tutorial real quick. So, sure we can find one real quick. Let's have a listen to keyframed animations from
This is a
games from scratch.
of EDM right here.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. It's Mike.
Hello, everyone.
We'll move this guy for animation.
Right, there it is.
A keyframe and move it, and that will change it in the timeline. Or you can grab it and
you click on the keyframe, for goodness sake. Right. There you go. Right. So we want to smooth out, right? So let's try that. Rewind. Play. Oh, we need to set this one as well, right? So try that. Too fast? We want ease in and out, right? Let's try that. Yep. That's what we want. Super. So now obviously we need to do that same thing to the other track. I wonder if you can copy the animation to edit, copy track, copy, edit, paste track. Yeah, maybe we can. So make sure we're still good. Oops. Whoa, what have I done? Yep, still good. Right, okay. So we're going to add another track here. Right, so I want to click on bottom cinema rect. I'm going to set the key position here. Boom. Create. And then I want to paste the track in here. Ooh. There we go. Nope. Okay. It doesn't work. Okey-dokey. So do the same thing here. So we want to move this down. So I think the trick here, by the way, because I'm having trouble clicking on the block, is to select it, click on one of the little side resizes, and then you can press the down arrow or shift and down to really tank it. So our screen size is 720, right? 720p. I think we just had to move it to this one to 101, so we'll move this one to 721. Super. And we're going to create another scene here. I mean, keyframe. All right, and then again, we click on that. Ease in and out. Click on this one. Ease in and out. There we go. So now we should have synchronized. Beautiful. All right. So, can you play an animation backwards? Godot, play animation backwards. Play backwards. Anim name. Really? Is that true? 1,000 vegetables for that one. If that's true, then we don't need a cutscene start and end. We just need a cutscene, and we just play it backwards at the end. So, oh my goodness, sore from sitting so long. I've been doing too much today. Too much sitting, guys. So, right. Okay. So now we're going to hook up. Let's save our scene. So this will be called cutscene. Super duper. Exciting stuff. Can we play this? Now there's a way of just playing that scene, right? There it is. This one here. So that plays the current scene. We just see it in full screen. Now you see our margins haven't worked there. Interesting. So it's like it's like whatever we've got set there is getting overridden for some reason. Not sure why. Could be that our size flag's overriding it somehow. Shrink center. Okay, well look, we'll leave it there for now. I'm more interested in getting a script for this baby. So we're going to create a new script. Cutscene.gd. We're going to save it into our scripts folder. Scripts. And cutscene.gd. Oh, why is that not letting me save it? So, scripts. Okay, open. There we go. Great. Super. Right. So now we have. This is going to be our cutscene controller, right? Every function that we want to do in relation to our cutscene, we're going to create a function for here. So, imagine we activate a cutscene. What's going to happen? So imagine you're playing, and we currently see this, right? And we trigger a cutscene. what happens? Does it fade to black? No, because then the bars don't work, right? Maybe it fades to white and the bars appear. Maybe we don't care. Maybe we just let the player decide. So we'll just create a load of functions for cutscenes. But we do need some sort of start cutscene. Cutscene. Right, and we do need an end cutscene. Because, if you remember, one of our requirements that we wrote down before, and this is why it's useful to get all that pseudocode, think through what you need to do, is one of our requirements is to pause the game. Physics, process, and sound. So we're obviously got to do that as part of our start scene. So in our start cutscene, we're going to do this pause. Let's have a look. How to pause. Okay. Let's do that. Don't know what will happen if we do that. And that'll be false, right? Happy days. I'm going to play an animation. So we can connect to our animation player. .play. Cutscene start. Fantastic. And the other one's played backwards, right? Is that real? Is that real? Oh my goodness, there it is. Super. All right. Wow, what do you know? So now, technically, obviously we want to connect this to our scripting engine, right? Because it'll be interacting with an object, starting a conversation. Something will trigger this. So we're going to go back to our game. And we're going to bring in our cutscene scene. Of course, it's in its default state. We don't want to see it, right? It needs to all be hidden. So it's not great right now. It's obviously very clear to see. But it will definitely appear over everything else, right? What's interesting is now we're seeing that this message stuff is appearing. It's probably something to do with like the layer these use. Layer 20. Layer 100, right? So our cutscene needs to be layer 999. It'll always appear over everything. Okay, and our default state for our cutscene is going to have to be with the bars out and with our image rect transparent. Oh, that's already done. Our background rect transparent. So we shouldn't see anything. Oh, also our text narration will be empty. And our, let's give this a word, click to skip. It's also going to be invisible, right? I'm going to fade all this stuff in. Do any second there. Okay, so now if we switch back to our game, I can't see the cutscene. Should hit play. Should be no sign of the cutscene. Nope. Super. Okay, so now we are going to open up our script for our game script, right? So this has got all our game scripts, and if you're new to the channel, we've got character scripts, we've got exit scripts, we've got object scripts, and so that's if you interact with an object, you interact with an exit, and you interact with a character. We can do different things. So we're going to create one for our AI here. So no longer is the AI going to talk. We're going to start a cutscene. So we're going to have to create an already a link to our cutscene. Make it a lot easier later on. So same way we've done these. Where's our cutscene? It is. Yep, it's just off the game node, so get currency and get node. We should just be the right cutscene here. I didn't know you could do this, but it seems like if you're... Nope. Okay. I was just trying to get the auto help up. There we go. So, what do we want? Well, we want cutscene. So /root /cutscene. No. You know what? Sod that. Cutscene. That's all we need. There we go. Right. I know that'll work because player is on the same level. Yeah. There's player. See the little line that comes back, connects it to game. Cutscene, the little line connects it to game. So we are ready to talk about the cutscene here, so we can actually tell the cutscene what to do. So we've created a command called start cutscene. So all we need to do is call that. So because we've created a link in our game script to cutscene, all we need to do is say cutscene. So now we're talking to cutscene, and we've created a function inside cutscene called start cutscene. So dot start cutscene. So that we're telling our cutscene to run this function here, and that should bring our little guys down, our little bars in. Let's try it. Nope, won't even let me. Oh wow. Okay, you know what's happened there? I've clicked it. Now I can't do anything. Right. So if we look at our script, it actually did work. The first thing start cutscene does is it pauses the entire game, right? So we actually have to make sure the cutscene is invincible, cannot be paused. So we click on cutscene. Over here, we've got pause, and we want to set the mode to process. So if we pause, this carries on. So now we should get our bars. Oh, still don't get our bars. What else might not be set? Oh, what about the original cutscene? Cutscene, pause, process. Right, everything else in this cutscene should be inherited, so that should work. Oh, still doesn't work. We might need to debug this. Unless our animation player just doesn't work. Let's spit out a little bit of text here. So inside our cutscene script, we'll just say print. We started, and for the end, we'll say print. We finished. Right. Hit play again. Should get the text down here at the bottom. Yeah. Okay. So nothing happened. Let's just make sure everything's working here. Can I enter the lift? Oh wow. Okay. Nothing's working at the moment. What is going on? Why is nothing clickable? It's not pausing the thing anyway. You know, I changed the. Oh, you know what it is. I know what it is. I think it's because the buttons. Right. You see this control here? I believe that's like a clickable element. I think it's just clicked. Oh. I think we actually have to like disable it in order to click on anything behind it. And because we've got it at the front as our cutscene, we can't use it. So in our game, if I make the cutscene invisible, let's see, visibility. Do we even have a visibility? Nope. How do we disable it? Right click. No idea. No idea. Interesting. Okay, well, I think if we go in here and disable control, right, which disables the whole lot, and hit play, this will validate whether this will work or not. Yeah, there you go. So that has paused the game. You can see everything's now paused. We started. There it is. So the problem is that it works too well. We need our script actually needs to enable this. So change visibility to, there it is, visibility on. What is that? Dot visible. Okay, so here's what we need to do. In our script, we need to get a link to control, which is $control. Yep. Dot visible. Right. And we set it true. By default, it'd be false. And then we finish the cutscene. We're going to set it to false, right? We also need to check the process. So we need to be checking this process here and looking for a left click. So it'll take us out. So now at least we should be able to click and the game should pause. Oh, look at that. So it looks like the animation is definitely playing, but backwards from the first place. So looks like I've got my animations backwards, have I? Eject. I've hidden it. There we go. So play. Yeah, that's cutscene start. Ah, you know what it is. No, that's wrong, isn't it? That's not how a cutscene starts. That's how a cutscene ends. Okay, you know what? I'm going to rename that. How do I rename it? Blimey, I don't even know how you rename it. Rename. Oh. Oh no. There we go. Rename. So we'll call that cutscene trigger. Or we'll just call it black bars. Black bars out. Alright, cool. Alright, so now in our script, we know that we've got to do this backwards. So that one goes here, this one goes there, and it's black bars it. Ding. Alright, there we go. We should now have bars working. Ready? Boom. Nope, not working. Oh, of course, our controls still are. We need to hide everything. It's a little bit annoying that we have to do that every time we want to test it, but there we go. Right, so our cutscene started. Now we can play our cutscene and whatever happens, happens. And now we need to have a left click button to complete our cutscene, and then we can start working on the content of the cutscene. So, so we need to check for, so we're going to set little things. So var cutscene, you know what, actually we'll call this can exit. We don't want them to suddenly exit the cutscene straight away. We want to give it a second for the cutscene to come in before they're allowed to skip. So we want to wait for the cutscene to finish, intro, finish fading in, the bars come in and so on. And then we'll set can exit to true, right? So we'll set can exit to false. We're going to create a signal for when this animation finishes. Now, I'm rubbish with signals. So if anyone's watching that can tell me how I'm supposed to do that, that'd be fantastic. Otherwise, I'll just have my best guess. So animation play, we can see all the different signals here. And we should have an animation finished. There it is. So if I double click on that, I can say, what animation do I care about? So this one. Oh no, I'm connecting to animation player. So what script am I connected to? This one. I've got to give it a name on animation player. We'll call it black bars. So cinema bars. Finished. Okay. So here we'll say, we'll just do a print of done. Right. And let's just see if that works. So we should get done printed out here. Just so it should say we started and then done. Beautiful. Right. So we know that that will be triggered when and the black bars finish. So can exit equals true. Now, actually, it's going to trigger as well when we finish as well, right? Because they're both animations. So we've got to toggle can exit. So if there's probably a really good programmatical way of doing this, but I'm just going to just do it like this. If can exit equals true, can exit equals false, and else can exit equals true, right? So if it's true, set it to false. If it's false, set it to true. Done. And we start off with it false, so super duper. So now we can check for our key click. Off the top of my head, no idea how to check for that. So check for mouse click, Godot. Oops, doggo. How do you know if input event is a left mouse click? That sounds good. I always use input is action pressed, name of action. I'll do. Take a look at documentation for input mouse button. If you're looking for button index property, you can check this. Of course, you can use impact map. Yeah. Right, so basically what we've got to do is, so this is our, we don't want to do the ready function. We want to do it in process. So remember, the process function in Godot is run every X seconds, 30 seconds, 60 seconds? 30 times a second, I think. We can check that by printing out delta. Let's have a look. Make sure it's working. So that's going to print out. Okay, so whatever that is times 0.1016667 times 30. I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't actually no idea. I think the whole point of delta is that it's the elapsed time since the previous frame, so it allows you to set a sort of constant speed for your game, non-dependent on the your hardware. So if you've got a stupidly fast computer, your game's still going to run at the same speed. And if you've got a really slow computer, well, probably not going to run great at all. So, so we want to check for this. If input is action pressed, name of action, we've got to set up a left click. So let's go to our editor settings, I think it is. Nope, project settings. And input map. And these are all the buttons we can set up for the game. So we need to set up a left mouse click. Doesn't look like, oh no, there we go. Dialog next. Of course, we already set one up. Totally forgot about that. So we can just literally set up that. If they press dialog next, then we have to check if they can exit. So if can exit, can exit equals true, then we'll let them quit. So we're going to end cutscene. All right, should be it. Give it our pass. It doesn't like this. If input is action, expected a return type for the function. Did you know? I'm just going to have to look at how that's used normally. I'm not really using it at all at the moment. Input. Let's have a look. Can't beat the docs. The latest docs. Is action pressed. Returns true if you are pressing the action event. Note the action has multiple buttons assigned, and more than one of them is pressed. Releasing one button will release the action. Okay. So if input is action pressed, I honestly don't know what's wrong with that. Expected a return type for this for the function. Oh. See this bit here? I've cut it out by accident. This is void, right? This is what the function should return back, if anything. It's not going to return back anything, so we're saying this function doesn't do anything other than run this code. That's it. We should do it now. Let's try it. So press this, cutscene in. cutscene finishes, left click, cutscene finishes. Nice. Now, the only thing is, at the moment, you see the bars don't disappear. Now, the reason for that is that our end cutscene, as soon as we left click, it is unpausing the game, but then it's immediately hiding the cutscene. We don't want that to happen. We only want the cutscene to disappear once the animations have finished, right? So what I'm going to do is move that bit of code. And so at which bit will it be exiting? So can exit equals true. So that means it was playing. Yeah, so I'm going to set it there, I think. Try that. We're in the cutscene. And we're out. Hey, it's pausing the sound as well, which is great. So if I enter the lift... Oh. Bit of a problem here, because the AI character isn't here. So back into the living area. Pause it. Footsteps have paused. The cutscene's playing. And then we're back in. Hey, it pauses the sound as well. I thought the sound didn't get paused. This makes things easy, doesn't it? It literally pauses everything. Although, we probably want the sound, it's a bit abrupt, isn't it? We probably want the sound to fade out as these bars are coming in and then pause it. So we probably want to reduce the volume decibels on all the channels down to -80, save them all, then turn them off and pause everything, sorry. Allow the cutscene to play. When the cutscene finishes playing, fade the audio back in instead of abruptly having it come back in. So now this is working. Now we're really laughing because we can start doing all sorts of nice stuff here. So what else have we got to bring in on our cutscene? Let's look at our actual cutscene here. We've got our narration, so we've got our text. We've got our click to skip button. So let's start with the click to skip. So we're going to fade that in. So we want to modulate. We want to fade in our alpha channel and modulate that text in. So it says left click to skip. But I've just realized it is 20 past 10. So we're going to take a few notes here and we're going to pick up tomorrow where we are. So let's see. Work in progress for Wednesday will be, oops. We need to fade in our click to skip text. We need to fade in our background and or image, whatever we might have in the background there. Cue up any sort of narration. And of course, we need to do all these things. We want the ability to play music. We want the ability to play atmospherics. We want the ability to play sound effects. We want the ability to show text and audio. And we want to be able to cue it up so your cutscene plays and waits and plays and waits and finishes processing the cue unless you left click and skip. And then we've got to say that cutscene's done. They watched it. We're going to update the player's log so that they can go back, even though they oh yeah, we can have the player replay the cutscene from the audio log. So we can have a little button so that they can go back in. So if they accidentally skip it, and go back in and play that cutscene again. So that should be no problem. I'm going to put a little pointer there. So player needs to be able to replay the cutscene later from his PDA, because he's going to have a PDA. That's something we're going to talk to the UI guys about. Is having some sort of, improving this user interface to make it like a real little mini computer that they're utilizing. So, all right. So that's it for tonight. Thanks for joining me. Back again tomorrow at 9 p.m. Have a wonderful evening. Have a good night's sleep.